At just 8 years old, the child became king of Judah. He was the son of Ammon and grandson of Manasseh. The Bible tells us something remarkable about this child. He did what was right in the eyes of the Lord and followed completely the ways of his father David, not turning aside to the right or to the left. Josiah was surrounded by a culture steeped in idolatry. The religious leaders had compromised. The priests had grown comfortable with syncretism, mixing the worship of the Lord with pagan practices. The prophets were largely silent or spoke lies. The people had forgotten the law of Moses. Most of the scrolls of Scripture had been lost or hidden away. Yet somehow, in the midst of all this darkness, young Josiah's heart was tender towards God. But how? How could a boy king, surrounded by the altars of Baal and the shadows of apostasy, develop such faith towards the Lord? Perhaps his mother Jedidah, whose name means beloved of the Lord, had taught him about the true God. Perhaps there were faithful remnants, priests, prophets, or elders who whispered to him the great acts of the Lord. Whatever the influences, God was at work in this young king's heart. The Scripture tells us that in the 8th year of his reign, when he was 16, he began to seek the God of his father David. This was the inward awakening, the quiet turning of a young heart towards the God of Israel. 4 years later, by the 12th year of his reign, Josiah's inward devotion erupts into public action. At 20 years old, he begins to purge Judah and Jerusalem of every rival to the Lord. This is no small undertaking, for idols and worship sites were everywhere, in the cities, on the hills, in the valleys, even in the temple courts. Josiah's reforms are thorough and radical. The Asherah poles are cut down and ground to powder. The altars to Baal are torn down. The incense altars are smashed to pieces. He doesn't simply remove the idols. He destroys them completely, ensuring they can never be used again. The bones of pagan priests are burned on their own altars, desecrating those places of false worship forever. The young king's zeal extended beyond Judah's borders. He presses into the ruins of Israel's northern territories, Manasseh, Ephraim, Simeon, and as far as Naphtali. Everywhere he goes, the work is relentless and meticulous.